Good morning, paranormal community, and thank you for partaking in this amazing episode of the Odyssey Files. I am your host, Michael O'Neill. Not with me at all is anybody else, at least the host. But I do have an amazing episode for everybody. Some great guests. Kim Juarez and Kari Haslip of CAT Paranormal will be joining me here shortly. They're just sitting in the background waiting for their turn to come on. Before I do that, though, I wanted to give everybody a quick update on the Odyssey Network. Obviously, I am continuing to work on that and getting all of the episodes up. I think I'm around like 110 or something like that right now. And I'll be spending the rest of today uploading even more. I just want to, there's a post on our show Facebook page about this, if anybody wants to go and read that. But basically, to put it quickly, when we were on the After Hours network, there was a huge, about 90 shows, I believe, that were on there that were uploaded to that network. And then obviously when we were gone from there, they were deleted. And due to a external hard drive failure, I lost all the hard copies of those shows, and there's no way to get those back. So we are actually missing 90 episodes, which is terrible. But here's what Dave and I have decided to do. There are some really, really good episodes, some really, really good topics that we want to make sure are out there. And I don't know why I didn't realize that they weren't there previously. We're going to redo those shows. We are going to take the topics that we really liked, update them, do more research on them, and then redo those for everybody. So look at that. We already have like a year and a half worth of shows going forward from now on. Obviously, we'll be bringing in people to our interviews. I've already talked to like Barry Fitzgerald. We'll be coming back on in April, and a bunch of other great episodes. But what you will see when you look at the numbering system, because right now, obviously this show says it's episode 328, but because we're missing all of those and I don't want a huge gap, this will suddenly post as 90 episodes earlier. So there won't be a 90 episode gap in there. Just wanted to point that out. And like I said, I should have everything up to date here in the next day or so. I hope, if I can keep focus and do shit. But with that said, that's all I got. Dave obviously is not here. He is still not feeling well enough to come on. So hopefully he'll be back next week. I know he's really trying to pull himself together. So we wish him well, obviously, and hope he's back next week. So without further ado, let me introduce my wonderful guests, one which, if you're a longtime listener of the show, you will remember her, Miss Kim Juarez and Kari Haslip from CAT Paranormal. Good morning, ladies.
Morning.
Holy crap, that almost blew my eardrum out.
Oh, was it loud?
No, it was a little loud. That's okay, because that's enthusiasm, and I like that. How are you?
Good morning.
How are you?
Well, I think we're doing good. I think we're good. It is morning. It is morning. That's all I have to say.
We're excited to be on your show, Mike. Thank you.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. The enthusiasm just dropped there, Kari.
That's because it's early morning when we're doing something like this. We'll get there.
especially with investigators.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I know you didn't have an investigation last night, but you did on Friday, which I've asked you like 4 times to tell me about it, and you haven't gotten an answer any time. So,
Well,
I ended up going on the investigation by myself. It's at in an old house that a friend of mine purchased and is flipping. So they're ripping stuff out, and I said, "Oh, let me get in there before you sell it and whatever."
what's the house date? What's the date of the house?
I don't know.
About the, is it old?
Yeah, because there's lath and plaster. They have the ceilings are very, very tall. The staircase is gorgeous, built in like a it's like a step up and then like a bench, and it kind of goes around. So that part of it was cool. Very, very high baseboards. But I had asked to go in there just to see if there was anything going on, because I think the people that used to live there, this last people, the mom might have died in the house, and then the son, I can't remember if something happened to him too.
Yeah, I think that
They
there was a
both-
lot of sickness
Yeah.
going through the home. So,
So Kim was supposed, we were just going to do a quick one because it's not like they saw anything or had anything happen, but Kim was supposed to come, and then she had a family emergency. So I decided, since he left the door open, to go anyways, because I had to lock it anyways.
yeah,
but
she did it by herself.
I didn't go down the basement because there isn't
I know.
light in a lot of the rooms because they've ripped down all the just basically took my K2 around, but I was getting hits all the time on that, and even going to red. So I'm thinking Kim and I want to go back, because I was probably there for an hour, went upstairs, looked at all the bedrooms, no lights up there. It was funny, I went into the bathroom upstairs, and somebody had put a big head with a mask on it looking over the shower curtain. So that kind of freaked me out for a second, but I'm just like, really? But within an hour, I started getting a really bad headache. And sometimes I'll get a headache in some locations, and that kind of tells me I'm more of an empath, that something's going to happen. But this, I think, with the K2 meter going off constantly, I think there's something with the electric magnetic field there. So Kim and I want to go back there with the millimeter.
Yeah, and see
And
the
just see what the
testing.
numbers are, because I would tell the guy then that they need to figure out something, because maybe that was what made the previous homeowner sick too. So
yeah, I mean, if they're tearing stuff down and remodeling the whole place, I mean, there might still be some unshielded wiring,
right,
and stuff like that. But that's going to give you the headaches. But I agree, and that could have been the case back then. EMF sensitivity and stuff like that. So, but not to get in, because we can get in this in the second hour, because I do want to talk about the stuff that you've been up to or whatnot. But now that you brought it up, I have to ask. And now my question just vanished. Oh, I got it now. Sorry, it's back. If nothing was going on, like they didn't see anything, they didn't experience anything, why did they want you to come in and check it out?
I just asked because just to get an investigation down, because we've kind of taken a hiatus with health stuff and this and that. So whenever you have an empty house, I mean, how perfect is that to get an older one? So,
and the owner to this guy, he gets a lot of these older buildings and a lot of, so he just say, hey, why don't you guys go in there? This is an old building. It's that type of good, we have good, how do you say it? Good, with the person, connection with this person.
Well, and that's it. I mean, we found before the places that we just randomly go, sometimes that's when you get the most stuff.
And we've done a lot of things in the downtown, which is pretty amazing, and
one thing weird though that did happen, because I was doing recording sessions, and then I'd listen back, and then they were erasing for some reason. like I'd do 45 seconds just to see if I could hear anything. And then I put it in I had like this little purse pouch. So I shut it off, put it in the purse pouch, and I was just kind of walking around with the flashlight, and all of a sudden the recorder came back on again, and I heard my voice in my pocket, and I'm like, okay, I had shut you down. But so yeah, maybe that's why I want Kim and I to go in, because we want to get the readings to see if there's a danger level of something there, and then get Kim's feelings on the place too. And
Well, I did have feelings of the place because when she told me about it, I kind of knew the house that she was talking about, and I wanted to make sure. I think I asked her again, which house is it again? So I kind of get those little, I call them spidey senses when you go towards the home, when you have that, I want to say like a psychic ability type of thing, when you know, well, this place, you know, there's something going on. I don't know why, but it's always been like that for me, where I've gone by to a house and all of a sudden I'll say, that house is haunted. That house has got juju. You know what I mean? Like you just know, you know, and if you work with these abilities like Kari does, and she knows instantly that there's something going on, you just know it. And I knew this house had some kind of a history. You know, I just don't, like I said, I just don't know. And it's kind of good to kind of be not knowing anything when you go into a home. And the beauty of it is we have a really good relationships with the Historic Society. And we just can go in there and just go through everything. And they're just wonderful, wonderful people. And we do here at the Waseca County, I'm saying it, at the Waseca Historic Society, and they're pretty amazing people. And we could just go in there, and she's like, oh yeah, let me show you, you know, or yeah, there is a book there with hauntings, but I've never opened it or looked at it. I see it, I've seen it, but I won't go because I just want to know if I'm right. You know what I mean? So my investigators will go look at it. So, you know, it's kind of cool. I don't know.
I actually just this past week, as I was uploading all the old original episodes to the new network, I did upload the one that you came on the show to talk about the importance of historical societies.
Yeah, and libraries. They're very important because, like I said, they're the ones that have all our history. And it's a shame when I'm gonna say it. It's a shame when one of them closes down, because all these artifacts, and I don't know, how would you say
all the
artifacts?
records just
All the records
destroyed.
gets destroyed, literally gets destroyed, and or taken somewhere else, and you don't even get to see the history or the, you know, at least they'll take this cup came from what you call it home and blah blah blah, and the president held it, and they'll put these documents to tell the story, you know. And you know, you just don't know, like, you just need some of us, like investigators, need it. You know, we really like to look up the histories of our towns and of our places and how it began. And, you know, this was nothing but water, or this was nothing but blah, blah, blah. And it only started with these settlers, and it only started, you know what I mean? There's a history, a full blown history that, that is good for people like us that want to know, you know?
I'm going to circle back to this during the second hour, because there's a question.
Okay.
I'm going to write it down so I don't forget. give me a second here. There we go. All right. So I want to go on to the mailbag, and then we'll come back to this discussion in the second hour.
Okay.
Sounds good. Then
Yeah.
I present to everybody
The Odyssey Files is proud to present the mailbag.
All right. Let's see here. Okay. So there's a little difference than the normal. I know that usually people are used to myself and the other one sharing the reading of the questions. But this time I'm going to read them all. And then obviously you two, I'm gonna let you two go first for all of them, and then I'll obviously pile on or agree or whatever on the back end. So okay, here we go. Story number 1. Got a question. I was gifted an old mirror from my neighbor that I hung on my bedroom wall. Shortly after, little comma action there should be needed. Shortly after, I started to have nightmares that were very R word and scary. I don't know what the R word is. Racy?
Maybe.
I don't know what the R word is, but and scary. I would have sleep paralysis almost daily. And one time I felt like something slapped my bum and ripped me out of bed. Clearly, when I woke up, I was still in my bed, but my bum cheek. I haven't heard that in a long time. Was twitching on the side that I felt get slapped. I started to get so exhausted in the morning and I would literally fall asleep sitting up. I could not if I tried to keep my eyes open. With what little knowledge I learned about mirrors in the timeline of events, I was suspicious of the mirror. My partner at the time was very skeptical, but he could see something was affecting me. I even had a sleep study done. The first one I did at home. I did an at-home one, and the results came back odd, but I cannot remember why, so I was told to come into the lab for a sleep study there. The results came back with no findings. So like I said, I was suspicious of the mirror, so I removed it from my apartment completely and put it in a storage unit. After I did that, everything stopped. It took me a month or two afterwards to get to the point I did not feel completely drained and somewhat back to normal. I have always been sensitive to energy changes in my environment. Whatever this was, masked behind familiar people I trusted that strangely, however, were never at my home. So that part has me a bit confused. In truth, I have never cleansed myself and I have not had good luck in any aspect of my life since this. Has this ever happened to anyone? Or do you have any ideas what caused this? Do you think it's still attached to me? Needless to say, my spouse at the time is a firm believer that something has attached itself to me through that mirror. What do you think, ladies?
Go ahead, Kari.
Well, number one, I'd want to know why my neighbor wanted to get rid of the mirror. Honestly, was he or she feeling something? Number two, mirrors can always be a little janky. I'm wondering if the R word is rape. So then you're thinking of a succubus if she's feeling almost violated.
Through the dream, through her dreams.
I think once you remove something that you might have a feeling that, and if you cleanse yourself or sage yourself, I think it's really, really important to get your mindset to light and love. I just think that's so important because you could stay in that funk and nothing's good is gonna come out of it. So you really need to get back to your faith and light and love within your whole being. And I think then more positivity is gonna come your way. That's my thoughts.
Yeah,
Kimberly?
and I think mirrors are portals, and they have different. I think the older the mirror is, and what mirrors are used, and say if you talk negative towards it, oh, I'm this, I'm that. Especially when people are, look at my body, blah blah blah, And then they say too, if you have a mirror, a full length mirror that's facing by your bed. I don't know if people really believe all of this and everything. And I did have, like a lady, I was in California once and they asked me about this certain person, and they said that they were having issues. So I went into the room, and the minute I went into the room, I asked about the mirror, not this mirror, but the mirror that they were having issues. And I instantly asked them where the mirror came from, and they told me. And they said that this person, and she has like disabilities, but not really where they affect her. She lives a normal life, but she's very adamant about the mirror. So I told them to get the mirror out of there. That I think a lot of it. And the minute that they got that mirror out of there, she was back to normal. Everything was normal. So she had issues like she would stare at the mirror and she'd be looking at herself, and she would have nightmares. So once I told them, I think it's that mirror, just get it out of there. Don't even, I think I didn't even say, I think I told them, don't even sell it. Just leave it there, cover it up, and just leave it in your garage or whatever for now. And then if you guys want to get rid of it, then maybe there's a proper way to get rid of it. So mirrors have something. There's something about mirrors, but I don't want to that's probably like a whole big story, but I think it does have a lot to do with a mirror, with that mirror in particular in her story. And they bring a lot of stuff.
Well, I think it depends too on what you're like psychologically and if you're in a good headspace or a bad headspace, because things are going to attach to somebody who's beaten down a little bit,
right?
Too. It's easier to get in and mess with them,
right? And that guy that one that has that museum out there in Vegas, he has a mirror that's supposedly haunted as well. And like I said, there's something about mirrors. There's history about mirrors, definitely. So yeah, I think there has to do something. And I think that the staging probably helped. I mean, I don't know how the end of the story is or how that person is now doing, but yet it was probably a good start for her to get rid of it, Definitely. So.
Well, I know at the end, in the end of the story, she said, in truth, I've never cleansed myself, and I have not had good luck in any aspect of my life since.
Okay.
So that's it. I will say this, Kari, that's an interesting take on the whole succubus thing, because I did not go there myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first place I went.
Yeah.
So I mean, I first want to touch base on just the mirror itself, because you're right. Mirrors are portals. They can absorb energy. They can spit it out if used in such a way. I mean, but there has to be some intent there in order to at least open it up. So I mean, to your point, Kari, again, why did the neighbor want to get rid of it? Did they do something
right
to it to try to be cool, something like that? Did they try to do? And I've been trying to think of the damn word. It starts with a P, but where you sit in front of the mirror and you try to open up.
Scribe?
No, not scribe. You know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
Because they've done it on TV shows and stuff a bunch of times. I'm sure it'll come to me, probably 3 days from now out of the blue. But I'm wondering if the neighbor didn't do something to open up a doorway or a portal using the mirror. And then when things didn't go the way they thought they were, which they never do, they're like, well, I'm sure, Chelsea next door or whatever, her name is, would love this mirror.
Yeah.
And it handed it over. I agree. I think it's definitely the mirror. I think the mirror probably absorbed a lot of her energy from it. If there is an entity attached to the mirror, it's probably got its tendrils into her over that time. My suggestion, I think that this, as long as you got the mirror away, what the hell was that? Was that your phone? I was gonna say your notification. I was like, oh. But I'm thinking a cord cutting, a
Yeah.
cleansing.
Cleansing.
Why doesn't she cleanse herself? I don't understand it.
Well, I mean, I don't. If you don't have the necessary knowledge on how to properly cleanse yourself,
Right.
you're not going to do it. But the question obviously then remains: why don't you have somebody who does know how to do it? And
Right.
I'm wondering if this is just one of those out of sight, out of mind things
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, well, everything is stopped. I don't need to do anything else. And and who's to say that all of this bad luck is attributed to the mirror? People have bad luck all the time. Maybe she
Right.
just makes really bad decisions. That doesn't mean it's bad luck. It's just, who somebody is. But I definitely, you're not going to hurt anything by getting cleansed.
Right.
You're not going to hurt anything by getting, any sort of cords cut. So my suggestion to her 100% is find somebody who's proficient in cleansing and cord cutting, a psychic medium that's reputable, and just get that done. And
Or a shaman would work too.
shaman,
A
shaman,
healer.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely.
I don't want to get into a debate about this,
Mm.
but I mean, if it is, let's just say for the sake of argument, it is a succubus.
Mm-hmm.
Would a shaman actually be able to do anything about that? I mean, because those are different. They're different
A
ideologies.
shaman would be able to get rid of any attachment to her. A psychic would have to maybe go in to challenge it to get out.
Right.
Very possible. I hope that's not the case. I hope it's just a. Normally I'd be like, "What'd you do that for?" But that was a cat, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Make it.
Next time, just pick it up and throw it.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate. So anyway, so yeah, so I fully just say get a cleansing,
Yeah.
by any means necessary, and finally try to rid yourself of whatever. And if you still have the mirror and it's not covered, I would cover it, because it's
Right.
just
Always.
Cover your mirror. Yep.
Yeah,
That's one of the
Put
things.
some salt by it too.
They even, and it depends on where the mirror came from. And if that person, whoever made the mirror or with the long history, those old mirrors that you gravitate because they look so antiquish, and you gotta know where it comes from, because that there, and they even say that spirits come through mirrors, I don't know. Some people are casted through it, depending how they're using it. Like you said, Mike, that it depends. It depends on who makes the mirror and where it comes from,
And when you said that, it makes me wonder, because we don't know the history of the mirror itself. Maybe the neighbor didn't do anything to it. Maybe
Right.
the neighbor bought it at an antique store,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff started to happen, and maybe the antique store was like, no backsies,
Right.
and they're like, well, I don't want it. It's going to go to my neighbor.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. I'm trying to find that damn word that has to do with the mirrors.
It's all research.
It's bothering me. Oh well, it ain't happening. All right, well, whatever. I'll find it later. So, all right, moving on. Gonna back up. All right. I really like this one. So, how can I show my friend the paranormal is more than quote unquote stories? For context, I've always believed in the paranormal and supernatural. However, my friend is dead set on the idea that it all doesn't exist and is made up, in his exact words. As we are in Scotland, we have looked into going on a ghost tour to the Edinburgh Vaults, which I've heard are incredibly active. However, I am one, expecting him to not accept anything less than a stereotypical floating translucent Scooby-Doo, etc. ghost. And 2, because he believes so strongly that it's all made up, that he may go in with the attitude and potentially aggravate whatever is down there. I don't blame him for having these opinions, but he has never had an experience. Hence, I wanted to give him the chance to have a paranormal experience to show him a ton of the stories are true. Whether it was paranormal interaction or not, the stories themselves are true. Although I've heard from some that the vaults are super active, I've also heard the opposite. So my questions are, 1, how can I explain to him not to aggravate whatever is there in a way he would take he would take on board as a skeptic? And 2, are there any other safe ways to have some form of an encounter? I say safe because I don't intend on getting a Ouija board, as one, excuse me, he would just say, I'm moving the beast. And 2, I'm never going near one of those myself. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Take it away.
Okay.
You go first.
Safe way? There really isn't a safe way. I don't know. You know,
I don't know why she's so worried though.
but if
Because if he wants to be negative Nelly going
Yeah,
in,
that's
then
how I
whatever
see it.
happens, happens.
That's what I was gonna say. It's all up to you. I mean,
Other than seeing something, if they could get a voice on a recording, there's no way that anybody could poo-poo that.
right. And they're still not gonna believe it, because he's not gonna, honestly, this paranormal investigator is not gonna get that person to understand the paranormal the way we do or the way we look at certain things. The sucky part is they're just going to have to let them. You've already explained if you aggravate spirits or whatever, if you go in there with bad intentions, if you do whatever, it's all up to you.
You get what you get.
You get what you get, and you can't change that unless they experience it. Unless they experience.
Then and only will he be more respectful the next time, because it's like, oh crap, there is something to this, So hard lesson to learn, but gotta learn it.
Yeah, I agree.
We're hardcore.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's exactly how I always describe you two. So, okay. So Dave and I have tackled these types of questions before. And first, I want to point out the difference between a skeptic, which you called your friend, and a cynic.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like your friend is a cynic, in which case, nothing short of, like you said, seeing, Scooby-Doo coming towards you as a translucent, ghostly figure,
Mm-hmm.
it is going to convince them otherwise. Kari, you brought up the whole, the EVP, and if you're by yourselves, if you're at this home and it's just you and Kim, and you catch a male voice on a recorder, that's hard to disprove. But if you're doing a tour and you have somebody who doesn't believe and you catch a voice, you're never going to convince them that it wasn't somebody else that's in the room that would make that. And if you want to be a cynic, if you want to be a skeptic, have at it. Everybody is free to do whatever they want. My question is if he's a complete cynic or even an open-minded skeptic, although I don't see an open-minded skeptic doing this, because there's at least that thought in their head of what if,
right?
Whereas the cynic will just be like, this is all garbage. Why would he want to take on this aggressive, why would he waste his time for something he knows isn't going to happen? Is it to prove a point to his friend? That I don't think it's going to take a lot of convincing to just be like, look, you need to go into this place and be respectful, if only, and if you want to put on historical respect, like, hey, this is a really big place. This deserves a respect. Don't go in there and do this. You can even throw out the, I don't want to get kicked out, so mind your P's and Q's, that sort of thing. If you want to put that spin on it, I mean, I think it's going to be easy for you to just walk through that place with your friend and tell them not to be stupid. I agree with you. There is no safe way to have an encounter.
Mm-hmm.
The only safe way to have an encounter is to watch other people have theirs. Sit here at your desk and watch YouTube. That's a safe way to have an encounter. Even though some people think that even if you watch it, you're endangering yourself, which is pure hogwash. But so the only thing that you can really do is you can go to these places. You can go to the Edinburgh vaults and you can have a good time, and just, as you lady said, let him do his thing.
Yeah.
He's either going to not have an experience, in which case he'll puff his chest out and think that he's the right one, or he's going to regret that mentality by having such a severe reaction or intense interaction that it will probably scare the living bejesus out of him.
Have you ever thought of like a skeptic? Okay, a skeptic, let's just put it in this term, delves into more the scientific. Okay, there's a scientific reason for something. A cynic, if you want to really put something out there, are they just so mad that something, and they so desperately want something to happen to themselves, and they
Right.
haven't gotten it, so therefore I'm all blah, 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 because deep down they really want something to happen. Would you consider that a fair way to do the difference between a skeptic and a cynic? If you want to kind of go the other route or really expand the thought process?
I think that once you have the thought in your head of this could happen or this might be a possibility, I think you've transitioned from cynic to skeptic.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're a pure cynic, there's no room in your head for
Right.
what ifs. This is the way it is, and that's the end of it. And that's one of the things that I don't like about cynics. I don't mind skeptics, love skeptics. They're, as you said, they like the scientific route. They will look for an answer, but they will be open to not being able to find one.
Yeah.
Cynics, Abraham Lincoln could appear to them in their freaking bedroom and have an hour-long conversation with them, and they would still say, "Oh, I was having a dream," or somebody put up a projector in my room or something like that to trick me. I mean, they're always going to find some absolutely dumbass reason to explain it away, even if it makes zero sense. But in their world, that's what needs to happen. I don't think cynics are so totally against, because you'll find cynics going to church every day.
Yeah.
And praying to God. And it's like, well, you can't have both. But in their mind, they're two separate entities. They cannot continue to exist in a world that doesn't make sense to them. And they're not open enough to allow that anything else can happen. And so they won't. They'll deny it. They'll forget it, at least try to. And they'll try to move on with their lives, thinking that it was it was a trick, it was a nasty prank, it was something to make it make sense to them, and they won't be open to that, to the paranormal or what it actually was. I hope that answered your question.
I would tell her too. It's like, okay, number one, why'd you pick that person? You know that they're gonna be a Debbie Downer. But number two, it's like, just say, hey, enjoy it for the history,
Yeah,
but don't rain on my parade.
right.
You know, just enjoy it for the history. Can't you be a good sport and not be all, ugh? Just enjoy it.
Yeah. Don't be a
Well,
fun sucker.
Don't be a fun sucker, Kim says.
Well, I mean, and that's why I said I don't think it's going to be hard to convince this
Right.
person to be respectful, because it is a historical place. They are going to have rules. I mean, and doing the whole you need to respect this place, I think is something they're going to understand.
Mm-hmm.
But throw it out as a location and history type respect, as opposed to, I don't want you acting like a jackass, because then the spirits will attack you.
Right.
Like if you start phrasing it like that, then yes, they're absolutely going to be they're going to be an aggressive, piece of garbage, because then they're going to want to prove you wrong. And so I think it's all the phrasing that goes into that. But either way, if there's any sort of spirit that will teach that one guy a lesson, probably going to be at the Edinburgh Vaults.
Yeah.
So I would assume that those spirits probably have no patience for provoking and stuff like that. So okay, here we go. Next one. Can you guys help? We have lived in our house for approximately 10 years. It was built in the 80s. Everything has been fine up until the last while, where things have been, well, weird. Strange noises. I've heard my name been called. Things have fallen over randomly, like a heavy candle off the top of my unit, and no one has been near it. I was actually in bed. A few times, a feeling of pure dread in the bedroom. I'd say a prayer and it would go away, and other things like that. I didn't pay too much attention to it and would often make jokes out of it, but the topic came up the other day, and my 11-year-old pipes up and says, "Oh, I used to see a tall woman in my bedroom." Honestly, that freaked me out. It's not a constant thing. I'm not a person who jumps straight to, oh, it must be the paranormal or whatever. But what if it is? What the hell do I do?
Call an investigator. I don't know. Paranormal
Weren't we
team, find
talking
out.
about it last year? Depends on how long ago things started. But weren't we talking, and I know it's been on sites and whatever, that the earth or the world and everything's changing and things are getting weird or opening up, or
Yeah.
weren't we talking about? I mean, it's just, I think everything is kind of going berserk the last, year or so.
Mhm.
And I think people maybe are experiencing more because there's so much going on with moon phases or the, what is it?
The Mercury retrograde and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
All that
Happens
stuff.
after the veil is thin, and so
Yeah.
everything's going to be coming through. But I don't even think it's that. Sometimes I think sometimes a house can be dormant for a while, where no activity will happen, and once they get used to you, then they'll start showing themselves and start doing whatever. I think sometimes it takes a while. I don't think it's just going to come out. And other places, it just comes out, like, oh, this place is haunted. And if you're not looking for it, and if you're not, you know, it's depending on your, and it comes not even from your home, but it's land that could be haunted. It could be something from down the street. If somebody passed away down the street and all of a sudden it decides, oh, you know what? I think I feel the light in this place. So because I'm still out here. I'm still in the street. I'm still wherever I passed away at. And then they get attracted to whatever's around them. I mean, I've heard of cases like that plenty of times where people have died and and like right up the street, and they'll gravitate to somebody that has the light, or whatnot. You know what I mean? It depends on how, why it starts getting active, or why it starts, how it ends up. So I don't know. I just think that it depends.
Did Kari go to the bathroom?
Yeah, she'll be right back.
All right. Well, then I'll do mine. So it's psychomantium is the word I was looking for.
Psychomantium. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
the word I was looking for when it comes to the mirrors. It's psychomantium. Found it finally.
Psychomantium. Say it again.
Yeah. Psychomantium.
Psychomantium.
Yep. It's where you obviously you stare into a mirror and you try and like.
I was
think
thinking of a
there's-
whole different other word. I don't know, but psychomantium is the word.
Psychomantium.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that.
She said she wouldn't have thought of that.
I know, I heard her. Okay, Kari, did you want to chime in or do you want me to go? Now that you're back.
I don't know. I think a lot of the times spirits, entities, whatever, just want to be acknowledged. She said that if she felt like it was dread in the room, then she did a prayer or whatever, and then she felt better.
And it could be something that they're going through too.
I think it's just a matter of just taking the power back. You can acknowledge, you can talk to them, but then remind them it is your house.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you can live with them if they're nice, but it's just a lot of taking the power back or just saying, hey, I know you're here. Coming in my bedroom.
Yeah. And I think too, like, when stuff happens that way, I think sometimes you just have to like do a blessing on your home. It's like, it's like the spring cleaning, do a blessing, have a priest come into your house so you can do a house blessing, however you want to do it. It's just, you have to do, and all the time spring. I feel good when I do it every year. I feel good that the house gets cleared sometimes a year or whatever, or even me, because I don't want things to just attach, because they see the light somewhere and right away they want to gravitate to you, or however, or they see you down. Spirits gravitate. They're going to see you. And some people, no, like that other person in the other story, maybe they won't, like we said, wait till they have to have an experience. Maybe they won't, because the spirits know already, this guy's an a-hole and he's not going to listen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't too like it that everybody, I think it's because of TV and whatnot, because they always want to go, it's a demon and this and that.
Yeah.
Not everything is bad. The majority of it, they're fine, or they maybe want you to be aware of something, or
They
try
need
to
to
get
tell-
a message across, or
exactly.
hey, stop and think about this, or get your attention for it. It's not always bad. I think the percentage of it being really bad, depending on where you go, and the bad could be because there was so much horrific things done to humans at the place. But I think for the majority, it's a lot of good.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't need to be scared of that.
Well, I think you can both agree with me that, because I'm sure you have had these clients as well, who, when they contact you, they're scared as all hell. Like you said, they think there's a demon in their house, or there's some sort of negative entity, and they don't know what's going on. They just want to get rid of it. And then we come in to do an investigation. We find the evidence, we present it to them, but we're like, we really think this is just a former homeowner who just wants to live alongside you.
Right.
And here's the evidence of that. And then all of a sudden they're just like, oh,
yeah,
works for me.
Yeah. Oh, well, we can get along. This is what cracks me up, is when they tell you, oh my God, I think we got a demon and blah, blah, blah. And then it's after you show them what it could be, and who that person could be. Or you legitly tell them This is what it is, blah, blah, blah. And they're, oh, well, we'll tell them if we can get along, we'll be okay. You know,
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. They
We
always
want
go
them
to
to-
the bad.
yeah.
It's like,
we want you to enjoy your home. We love your home, so we can all get along.
And I think the difference there is they understand.
Right.
People are always terrified of what they don't understand
Yeah.
and what
exactly.
they don't know. And as soon as you shed that light on them and they're like, here's what you got, you're in no danger. They're like, oh, all right. and they move on with life because they finally understand what's going on.
Right.
And I think that is probably one of the most important jobs
Mhm.
that paranormal investigators have. Not ghost hunters, because you know how much I hate them.
Yeah.
But paranormal investigators have when it comes to their
Mhm.
clients is allowing them to understand what is going on. And,
Right.
and then taking it from there.
and reminding them too that these were humans
Yeah.
and they had
Mhm.
human feelings and
And
they
they
had
built the
human
house.
attachments.
Yep. They built the house.
So
they
put
were on the
yourself in
land.
their shoes. I mean,
Mhm.
be
Yeah.
compassionate, be respectful, and they will do the same.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I've done that in investigations. I've given clients, the advice to do the same thing, to set your boundaries
Mhm.
and just respectfully be like, this is my home now. You're free to be here, but these are the rules.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
and 99 out of 100 times, that's pretty much going to work.
Right.
So for this story, I don't remember which one of you said. I think it was Kari. It talks about how things might not happen at the start. How time can go by without anything going on, and then something springs it into action. And I'm thinking that for this story in particular, that whatever spirit is there has probably been there all along.
Mhm.
And just it hasn't interacted, hasn't felt the need to, just coexisting, but something changed. And it could be something so normal to the living people that they're not even taking it into account. Or maybe her daughter brought some friends over, one of them brought a Ouija board, or
Right.
they're starting to read stuff that maybe she should. There's something going on that I think has gotten the spirit's attention and
Mhm.
is trying to reach out in
Right.
some way to bring their attention to it. And the fact that nobody's been touched, nobody's been harmed, it doesn't seem like the daughter was really scared. She's just like, yeah, there's this tall lady in my room.
Mhm.
Like, it wasn't out of fear that she was terrified of it. Obviously she's hearing her voice, so somebody's trying to get her attention, especially since it's not her voice. It would have been a little different if it's, what is it? I heard my voice call my name, or my daughter's voice, but just like somebody's calling my name. So I think somebody's trying to reach out to her.
Right.
Did they have a death in the family recently?
Mhm.
And somebody's trying to reach out to her at that point. Like, there's a lot of different scenarios here
Scenarios, yeah.
of what it could be, but I honestly do not see this as being any sort of like negative on it. I don't think her and her daughter are in any sort of danger. I think right now, as you said, Kim, a paranormal investigation team,
Yeah.
I think is probably the right thing to do, because if the spirit is trying to reach out to them, they might interact with the investigation team to pass along their message. Is there something that you're trying to get attention for? Would obviously be a question I would ask probably 10 times over that investigation. But I think that's probably your best bet. If it's bothering you that much and you want answers,
Mhm.
bring in a paranormal
Bring
team.
in a paranormal team. Yep.
Yeah.
Don't do it yourself. Bring in a paranormal team. And the other thing too, Mike, is, like you said, I'm going back again, but you for all you know, when you've been living in this house, they've been trying to get you to notice them. They've been, oh, you make up logical reasons for everything. But now you're running out of logical. You know what I mean? You're at the point where you're like, okay, so now my daughter's actually seeing this now, and look at COVID. Okay, what happened was everybody stayed locked in their home, and I was getting phone calls. I don't know if you were, but I was getting phone calls left and right saying, oh no, I think somebody's in our house, and blah blah blah, the door's shutting and slamming, and you hear walking, and because they weren't paying attention. They were just too busy with their lives. And then when you're stuck in your house, all of a sudden, oh, this stuff is happening, that's what that's probably what it is now. She wasn't, it just got elevated because now she was at home more. The kids were home more. You know what I mean? It's just things like that in general.
Well, not only that, but people were home more.
Yeah.
I mean, we spend 10 to 12 hours, with your commute to work and back and working, 8 to 10 hours. And so you're not home.
Right.
The door slamming, footsteps, that could have been happening regardless of whether you're there or not. But now all of a sudden you're home to experience it.
Yes, exactly.
So, yeah. No, see, you're in. I got to tell you, I'm not jealous of where you live, but I'm jealous that you are the only team around, and so you have like that entire area to yourself. Whereas,
right.
You can't go 10 miles down the road and there's another paranormal team sitting there,
right.
Waiting
right.
for the call. I mean, there's like 10 teams here in the cities, but that's neither here nor there. It's nothing to do with the story. You're just saying you're getting calls off the hook. I'm like, yeah, no, I wasn't. I'm like, yeah, I wasn't. But you're in a very good position to be like their main person to go to. Around here, there's options, not very good ones, but they're options.
Yeah, there's more. Yep. In the cities, there's a lot of options. And here we just have small
rural.
Yeah, we're very small, small town, not that much population. I mean, but beautiful history, wonderful history, things.
A lot of different settlements.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Tons of settlements. So
yeah,
you have that and Native American stuff.
Farms,
everywhere.
old farms, old houses that were built, and they're built on sweat and labor and hard working, and it's history.
Yes, it is. So okay, so we can do the last one, or we can move on to just our general topic.
Okay.
Which one do you want to do?
You go for it.
I was going to say my vote is to move on.
Okay.
Because we got a lot of things that I want to talk about. We got cases that you've worked on. The history of the team. I got a couple questions here, just in general, for you to get your opinion on it. So I'm going to start with this one because it's something that's come up lately.
Okay.
Dave and I, was it Dave and I, or was it Cena and I? One of the two in a recent episode. So one of the things that I've noticed, and I don't know if you have or not, I don't know how much you ladies spend on Facebook or who your friends are or that kind of thing. But I've noticed recently, and you mentioned in the past year, especially in the past year, and especially the past 6 months, a lot of people in the paranormal are dying.
Yeah.
And it's sad and it's tragic, and a lot of people who haven't gotten that far yet are having a lot of health issues, tumors, and chemo and cancer. I mean, like, a lot of this stuff is coming up. And then I'm hearing you guys talk about, Kari, you said you need a new knee, and Kim, you had like eye surgery, and then you had something else that you had to have surgery on, which I'm passing it. And this seems to be an ongoing trend right now.
I have to mention this, that you're saying this. one of my paranormal investigators from the beginning, she passed away. She was my niece. She just passed away. And up in California, she she went with my son, and she ended up passing away out of the blue. Like, she's only 37, young girl, just out of the blue. And she was her name's Jessica. And she was one of my first investigators, because that was what me and her gravitated to, because we love paranormal. And she's the one, come on, Auntie, you can do this. You can do this. She always gave me that upbeat. And you can do this. You can get it done. You got this, Auntie, always telling me about where it's haunted and where she lived here with us. But at the time when she passed away, they went on a trip to a concert, and my son was with her and her sister, and she ended up passing away. So yes, it's been happening like crazy.
So I guess the question and the reason why I bring this up is especially since you two specifically have also had a lot of health issues.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you think that this is just, I don't want to say bad luck, but I mean, do you think that this is just a normal trend and it happens in life? Or do you think that the paranormal or the supernatural, or whatever you want to classify it as, this is some sort of fighting back, that this is some sort of retaliation for what we do? Do you think the paranormal has anything to do with any of this?
I would say no. And I can say that because whenever we go to any place, of course, I didn't do it by myself. I totally spaced that off. But we always pray before and after. And we specifically say you're not allowed to follow. And once again, it's what's inside you too.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say, like, okay, one can think of it that way, or else I choose to, like in July, I was coming out of Walmart, just to give an example, got to my car, had gotten a few groceries, my right arm, the whole thing went dead. And I'm like, whopping it around like a fish. And I'm like, what the hell? And I get in my car and I got my phone out and text my neighbor. I said, oh my God, my whole arm is dead. I don't know what's going on. She goes, go to the emergency room. I said, no, I've got some hamburger. I need to go home first. So I came home. By then it came back. Long story short, went to the emergency room, had tests done, found out my carotid artery was blocked. Had to have surgery for that. That's why I had a TIA or a stroke. My process and my belief is, oh my God, my angels did this so that they could find this, because they said the next stroke could have totally taken me out and I'd be in a nursing home. So I choose to look at it that way, that I've been very fortunate. I was choking once. I think an angel came and gave me a Heimlich because I was by myself and it came out. I just feel like sometimes maybe we're not paying enough attention to ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
that we're so worried about everybody else. But I count that as a blessing that it wasn't a total catastrophe in my case.
Right. And
That's how I view mine.
And there's a lot of, like you said, you're right, Mike. There was a lot of deaths in the paranormal right now. And I honestly believe it's, and I'm so glad you brought this up, because I even thought that when this happened to Jessica and to myself, I thought that, but then in reality, I always thought to myself, God, if I didn't go get my eyes checked, and if I didn't go, I would have went blind. I wouldn't even known that there was something wrong with my eye, or I needed to slow down a little bit because I was going through a divorce. I was going through all kinds of things. I needed to slow down, and that's why
I tripped you, and then you
I tripped, and then I'm in a cast before I even knew it. Like, Nope.
It was a long process recovering, but you
Yeah.
had to maybe think about other things in your life or deal with them
Mhm.
or address them or I don't know.
And maybe recently I haven't been into the paranormal as much as I used to because I was gun ho and everything. But I think sometimes you have to slow down. You have to slow down and heal your body from maybe all the investigations you've done or all the things you've done in the past. I say sometimes it does. And like Kari, I believe that it does, that your angels are talking to you, your spirit guides are talking to you and telling you, hey,
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's an
attachment.
attachment from
right.
an investigation, but I think maybe our spirit guides and angels are becoming more louder.
Right. And I don't know, and it depends on a lot of these people had a long history. Like apparently my niece, we don't know exactly what, but her heart gave out. She ended up having like a seizure. No, she had a seizure. And then they said that she was diabetic and all this stuff, which we didn't even know. So it doesn't even know. We don't even really know for sure. It's just, so right now a lot has happened. And I think a lot of us has to be aware of ourselves. And sometimes there's a lot of investigators that are hardcore and you can do a lot. Like all of a sudden you could be like, there's a lot of investigators I can name off that do so much, and you can be doing things a long period of times and you're not even realizing you're having issues and stuff like that, you get so gravitated and then you have to go to work and you have to do your own life and you have to do your paranormal life and you have to do whatever other life you're into. Because I was doing jewelry, I was doing vendor shows, I was doing all kinds of things at the time,
Except paranormal.
So
I even still have your eagle claw that I made you give me.
oh, nice.
What do you say?
The eagle claw that I made.
Oh,
That I made her give me.
Yeah, she did.
So okay, so on that point, and that's a very good point. Do you think that there is, I don't want to say a difference because that just it brings it down. But I mean, to the people who, and this kind of goes to I guess the difference between ghost hunters and paranormal investigators.
Mhm.
Do you think the people who interact with the other side and interact with spirits or whatnot, but in a respectful, professional, you're here, you're there to help,
Right.
to help the client, are more open to that positive type of help, where they do something that, yeah, it probably hurts, but it's gonna bring attention to something else, to something that maybe is being done or maybe is just wrong with your body in general. To Kim's example of the Walmart, to you tripping and having to be in a cast that sucked, but it brought attention to your eyes, which I think are because your leg's going to heal. If you go blind, that ain't coming back.
Right.
And then to the people who, let's just say the ghost hunters, the people who go in there and they want the evidence and they want the thrill and they want to provoke and they want the likes and the popularity and the money, they're not so lucky because they do bring on more of that negative energy as opposed to the positive energy. I actually just watched Ghostbusters 2 yesterday. Well, at least a part of it. I mean, you have the negative slime mold and then you have what the charged positive.
Right.
Because I have done a show recently that talked about, that had a story actually, where there are spirit guides and whatnot who will scream, run. They will scream, you need to get out of here. They will, scream, get out, get off the road, whatever, to try and save you. And they do it and they're saved. And then the people who don't listen or they don't want to listen because they're, arrogant and aggressive and egotistical and they know everything. Do you think that could be something that is going on where the people who do it in a positive love and light method get helped by their guardian angels, by their spirit guides. They get guided, to things that they need to fix, whereas the other ones don't listen, and those are the ones that get the attachments and they get the retribution and stuff from the other side. Do you think that has anything to do with it?
I think so sometimes. I really do, because look at the ones that are hardcore ghost chasers and ghost hunters, because there is a big difference between an investigator that wants to help somebody, and there is a difference between a ghost chaser. Oh, I know there's demons in here and I really want to get them, I want to get them all stirred up and everything. And they just go and they don't even sage, they don't do nothing to help themselves, nothing at all. And then they walk right out of the place and don't expect any. If I forgot to even pray, I'll pray. I'll sit in my car and pray if I forgot to pray with my investigators. Do you know what I mean? Please watch over my investigators. That's how I am. And these other people, in which a lot of them are kids, younger, go busting, they got this, we're not afraid kind of crap. I don't even think they realize that what they can bring home. I really don't even think they realize that. And they're just so adamant about the next thing. They don't even know this. The poor attachments are probably like, hello, hello, I'm right here. I'm your demon. This is what you wanted, because they're on to the next. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I think it's good to have, my own opinion. It's good I was brought up Lutheran.
Mhm.
I think it's good to have a good faith base, and then you transcend into a spiritual understanding. And I think you think of things different, you view things different, you feel things different. And I think it almost puts you higher than these ghost hunters, because you're understanding the different realms and the different levels, even of heaven, and the different,
You get so
and the
much
time,
information.
the time isn't the same there as it is here. And I think I think one needs to have a good spiritual mind to understand what's going on, or to see what's going on, or to feel what's going on.
But I even think too, sometimes, how can I say it? And it's okay to be a ghost hunter. It's okay, and we go to all these vendor shows where there's nothing but maybe ghost hunters, and then we have our paranormal investigators, then we have our big wigs, that are on TV. And that's okay. It's okay if you want to be the big person, or if you want. I don't want to be that big person. I don't want to be. I'd rather our team be genuine. And I'm not saying that the ghost hunters aren't, or these ghost people, whoever, that I'm just saying.
But they wouldn't be popular if there wasn't anything happening.
Right.
So who's saying, oh, did you hear that? And it's like, I didn't hear nothing. And I'm watching the TV show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's like people think, oh, there's stuff that goes on all the time. No, you can do hours and hours and be at one place multiple times and nothing happens.
Haunted.
But yet there's beings there. It's just, I don't know. I don't know.
Not to get into conversation about TV, that might come later. But I mean, that was the big, I don't want to say disappointment, although it was disappointing, but the big surprise about ghost hunters originally was they always showed off the TV, each episode, as if they got all of this activity in one night, in one investigation, only to find out, seven seasons in or whatever, they're there for 4 days.
Yeah.
And they get like three encounters and like 4 Class C EVPs in 4 days worth of investigation. That's typical. And I always said it's ironic, because TAPS is a paranormal investigation team.
Right.
And yet they started the whole ghost hunters thing. And I always thought that was ironic. But I agree. Kari, you're not going to be popular unless something happens.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Nobody's going to sit there for 45 minutes watching YouTube, watching you sit in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
They're there to watch you get scared. They're there to watch you, freak out.
They're there to get followers. They're there for popularity. So they're jazzing things.
And there's so many now. I mean, they got the YouTubers, you got your Facebook.
Most of them are YouTubers because you can't get on.
You can't get on.
People get tired of paying for this channel and this channel. Now we're moving to this channel. It's like, come on.
Yeah. And it's just, and they're so freaking young. They're so young, and, you got to learn. I feel like you got to learn. And we're so blessed, honestly. I'm so blessed that we even got our team together. I'm so blessed that I always believed in it, that this stuff happened to me since I was younger. I at least came to some that had things that happened to me. And then I had to show people, come on, this is, whatever I'm feeling is, I know there's juju here. I know that there's, and I thank God, that I had Kari, and I thank God that I had all my investigators, my niece who passed away. And thank God I had all that, because, some of them were like, oh, okay, Kim, calm down, because you're getting a little high, you're getting a little excited, calm down. And then you, big guns, we learn to be, friends, and we learn, oh no, this person believes in that. Oh, let me ask Dave, or let me ask Mike, or let me ask so-and-so. And look at Sarah Lamont. I know her. I know Michelle LeBaron. I know a lot of people. And I was blessed. I was super, super blessed. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm just grateful. I'm very grateful. I am so grateful for my team. I'm so grateful for you, Mike. I'm so grateful for Dave. I'm so grateful for everyone, And yeah, I'm grateful for these ghost hunters. I'm grateful for the paranormal investigators. We're learning every day. Every day. We still don't got it. We still don't understand the paranormal or the mediums and psychics and whatever. They didn't like us. They didn't like paranormal investigators because they thought we were ghost hunters to activate places. And we weren't like that. We wanted to help people. There's a big difference. But that's another story.
I just want to interject one quick thing because I'm not feeling the love here from Miss Pam. So she's watching. So I might watch Kari and Kim for 4 hours sitting in the dark with no activity. In fact, I probably have. So the reason why I bring that up is I'm here too, Pam. You said, hey, ladies, long time no see. I'm here too. Say hi to me.
Hi, Pam. We can't see the questions, guys. So that's what I'm.
I know. That's why I put it in there.
Nice. Thank you, Mike.
I wanted to see what Pam was saying and also to respond in kind. So just want to put that out there, Pam.
Well, I think we've always, and first and foremost, I miss like the camaraderie with other teams because everybody is just like either dismantled or whatever. It's been weird for the past couple of years.
Yeah, it has.
But now I forgot what I was going to say.
And that's a whole different story.
Oh, now I know. But I think, and it's not like we've ever had a camera on us for hours at a time. Here and there, we do a little bit of live tweets or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? I'm not
Facebook.
But I think it's because we're very relatable. When we've been to shows, and I remember after one show in Duluth, and we were talking to somebody at a table, and I had said we were talking about the when I had that interaction with that spirit wolf, and I was scared and I ran, and another investigator had said, then you have no business being an investigator if you're going to run. And I really took offense at that because I'm just like, I'm human. Just because I'm honest doesn't mean I'm brave as crap.
Yeah.
And that's a human response. And things happen. And I'm sorry, it's not, we don't choreograph or we don't, it's not like, blah, blah, blah. It's what happens in the moment. That's the moment. This is my response. May not be the appropriate one, but it's my human response.
Mm-hmm.
So I just, I still like just being weird or normal or whatever, scared sometimes, whatever.
Me too. Me too.
That's me. I don't care.
Okay. No, that's only something that I would say, but I know that wasn't me.
It wasn't you, no.
But again, it also depends on the context. Like if you were there, wherever you were,
Mm-hmm.
and you were already an investigator, and you were looking for a spirit wolf, and then you ran, then I would probably say something like that. But if you're like 15 and you're just walking through the woods and you see something that you think is a wolf,
Yeah.
you run your ass off. So I guess context there is would have been needed. I think that was whoever actually did say that, I think was probably a little early in their assessment of your abilities.
Yeah.
But
I didn't let it bother me.
No, and you shouldn't.
No.
But yeah, okay, interesting. So I want to go back to something that you had said, because I see this happening a lot now too, which is very aggravating to me just as an investigator. But you were talking about the YouTubers and stuff like that, and people are on TikTok now and they're doing their little lives and the little things here. But I'm beginning to notice that a lot of these people who have gathered, 1 million followers or something like that, and they're making that money. And now like these YouTubers and these people that are like 24 years old or whatever are starting to buy haunted locations.
Yeah.
And, you have, what is it, Sam and Colby?
Yeah.
I don't know who they are. I mean, I know what they do.
I don't know who they are, but I hear them all the time. I hear about them all the time.
I hear they're complete jackasses, that they have no respect for the paranormal whatsoever. Well, they went and bought Farrar.
Yeah.
And then,
Seriously?
You serious?
That was for
bought-
sale?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
much?
They bought the school, right?
They bought the schoolhouse. Yeah. That we've been to. And like they jacked up the price to like $1,500 a night or something like that.
I'm
God.
sure.
Well, so not only that, but now you have, I don't know if you know the comedian Matt Rife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, apparently, he's big into the paranormal too. I mean,
He does. He talks about it all the time.
He does. Well, apparently him and another YouTuber are trying to buy the Conjuring house.
Oh my gosh. That's
And-
crazy.
And I guess this isn't the first time they've tried to buy the Conjuring house. So I mean,
Okay.
now you have all of these people who are starting to get the popularity and stuff from YouTube. I mean, one of the other topics I wanted to talk to you about is the fact that TV shows now are almost non-existent when it comes to the paranormal. Like they used to be 2 years ago, you couldn't change the channel without finding a Kindred Spirits or a Ghost Adventures or an episode of Ghost Hunters. Now they're all gone. The only one that I think is doing anything is Bagans, and that's just because he's funds himself.
He's getting a new. I don't know if he started a new show, but he's supposed to be
Because he has control over that channel.
Pretty much. Yeah. He's and so I mean he's like the only one that's still even trying to do it anymore.
Yeah.
But so I mean, what is your take now on like I don't want to say celebrity ownership because that's just giving them way too much credit, but what about these YouTubers who really have no idea what the paranormal really is and they're only doing this for money and for popularity. And now they're owning the places we go to try and interact.
That's heartbreaking when you told me that about VR, because it's very active there, and it's heartbreaking. I just hope.
Yeah, but the people that were there when we went there, they were like having a hard time.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
They were.
That-
Caretakers.
and that's why they sold.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yep.
they
I could see that.
yeah, Nancy was just her health was failing, and yeah, they moved out and they sold.
Yeah.
But if not for the YouTubers who could afford to buy it and not have it just go into disarray and get torn down.
That's true. So it is a good thing.
There's some good about somebody purchasing it and keeping, you
Keeping it
need
going.
money to fix things and have it this and that. But I'm almost finding that I would rather go to a less popular place to investigate, because it's like the Axe House. That's been overkill.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's some of these places, it's like, okay, this is overkill. We've already got a preconceived notion that this and that happens. So of course you're going to see it, because power of suggestion is tremendous with like the Conjuring House. They've seen the movie, they've seen it on TV shows. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to see this and that. Might not really have seen it, but it's just everybody's going to
And that's
jack up their
that's what that
popularity
is.
just because they've seen stuff.
And that's what that is. You want, the VR has been on TV. The Conjuring House has been on tons of shows. The Waverly, all these different places,
Why
hospitals.
didn't somebody buy? Oh, did somebody buy no pin?
Oh, I don't know.
No pin?
They had a lot of issues, though. Did
But I
anybody
mean-
get the no pinning?
No, from what I understand, it got condemned due to black mold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We saw it.
That's what's
firsthand.
sad about places like that.
That,
That you could
mhm.
never go in to see the history of what it was like to have TB, because those places are just so gross. They had to demolish them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is true or not, because the source is completely unreliable. But they told me like they were going to sell Nopamine for like $10,000 or something like that. But in order to do anything with it, you had to fix it up.
Yeah. You have to. Yep.
You had to bring it up to code, and it was so in disarray, and because of the mold and everything that happened, that was going to be another $400,000 or something like that.
Wow.
But I mean, right now the building is pretty much useless. It's there, but yeah, nobody. It's condemned. From what I
The
understand.
question is, Mike, if we all had
Scoot in more.
I don't know. If we all had a ton of money, what place would you want to own? And what place would you want to own? I'd want to own Penhurst.
Penhurst,
Yeah.
and money's not an issue.
Right. But what place would you say, oh, I resonate really strongly to this place?
Well, I've never been. I've never been to a lot of places. I've seen a lot.
Neither have I.
I've seen a lot of places that I would love to be a part of. It would either have to be my top three would be Waverly,
Really?
St. Augustine Lighthouse,
Oh.
and either the Queen Mary or the
Yeah.
Winchester Mansion.
Oh.
I would say the Queen Mary. I have not, I've lived in California. I never went into a tour. Never went investigate the Queen Mary.
Yeah, I really
Isn't
need
that crazy?
to.
And I lived in California all my life, and I've seen that beautiful ship.
Yeah.
And those are still the goals, But yeah,
It's just interesting.
yeah.
Are you not going to give your answers, or you just were interested in mine?
No, I gave you Penhurst.
Well, you gave me Penhurst. What about you, Kim?
Queen. I think. Okay.
I mean, honestly, if land and everything wasn't a thing, I probably would have gone Island of the Dolls, but that's just me. but now they've taken down all the
Oh.
dolls.
That's
Now they-
like, yeah,
now
but
they-
you're gonna get,
Yeah,
you're not
that's
only
really
gonna,
weird
that's
juju.
really, yeah, that would be like,
That's creepy.
yeah,
That's
Mike.
voodoo
I mean, think
Well,
about it.
well-
You would have to be like, you
Not
have to watch
anymore.
out for the snakes,
The
the anaconda,
gators?
the gator, you know,
Well, not
the
anymore. They took
malaria, they'd be bitten up. Ah!
they actually took down all the dolls. They've cleaned it all up now. So,
Holy buckets. Why they were getting too much stuff
Maybe
up there?
people-
I think it was just getting disgusting. Like
Oh,
everything was just moldy, and because I mean they're out in the weather, and the humidity and the storms, and but yeah, like the as you're talking, like the snakes and the bugs and the spiders and all the dolls, they're just like they
yeah,
just took it down.
that's the other thing, Mike. I mean, that's good that these people, these YouTubers or whoever bought these places, because that's the other thing. So like there's that local place that we have here that we've investigated with other paranormal teams, and it's just land, and they have these tunnels and everything, and every time you go to see it, you go to visit or whatever, I like taking my like first new investigators there just to get them to to investigate. It's one of our places that we like to go, which is in Faribault. And it's just so gross. Every year that I go, there's always something dirty. Always. They just wreck everything. That's the other thing. People just wreck things. And it's
'cause
so
it gets popular
sad.
and they don't,
And yeah, I would love to purchase that land just
to keep other
to keep
people
it out. Yeah. And to clean it up and to invite people that really, really love the history of that town and love I would love to do something like that, because these little places, they're just wrecking them. They're just wrecking the little shelter areas. I would like to gut it. I would like to put nice flooring on it. Not nice flooring, but something that you can walk in and out with no problems. They just throw trash and mattresses and do their drugs, and they sleep in them, and it's just so bad. People are just so bad. So yeah, I would love to purchase something like that, if I could get a piece of land. I'm just not, maybe
It's too bad that they jack up the price so much
right.
that only a small handful of people can even actually go and pay that price. That's just,
And now I'm wondering,
yeah.
who's going to pay but these big wigs to go into that place? I mean, who's going to pay? What did you
Well, I
say how
mean,
much it was now?
15?
15?
It's something I honestly don't know the actual price now. That's just what I heard. So I mean, don't
And
quote me
when
on
we
it.
went in, it wasn't it like $40 or something?
I mean, everybody had to pay like 40.
$40 for each
Yeah.
of us, and that was it.
Yeah, I've done 2-day events there, and I think
Yeah.
like my total was like 550,
Yeah.
something like that. They were very, very kind and very nice, and they liked professional people coming in and
Mhm.
enjoying their building. And
And we
those are
clean up and we be
those
respectful to the
are
things.
very good owners.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
are the people that I want owning, haunted locations. The ones that
Absolutely.
actually
Absolutely.
love the history and love the building itself. I just had, damn it. I said something that I was going to say about something, but it doesn't matter anymore. Okay. Kim, really quick before we move on, I still need your location. You haven't
What?
said which one. You haven't said which one you would buy.
I say something small like that. Like if I had money, I would do something small like FR or something. I don't think I would go for the big stuff, because I think I would try to buy little things here and there to like we have a perfect like Faribault. I would like to purchase something like that, because we've had so many within that land. There's so many things that happened in that land area. So I'd want something like Faribault.
I remember what I was going to go now to. Is you're talking about prices.
Mhm.
mean, Waverly has been 1,500 a night for years, and you can't get a date, even in the middle of the week.
Wow.
I didn't know Waverly was that much.
I didn't know
Oh
that
yeah,
either.
oh yeah. Waverly is about 1,500 a night. Doesn't matter what night it is.
Mhm.
Like I honestly think that they only do Thursday through or Sunday through Thursday now, because Friday
Okay.
and Saturday they do like their flashlight tours and stuff where they charge like $50 a person.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but yeah, you the entire year, like if you went to Waverly
Mhm.
like .com or whatever to try to book an investigation for CAT Paranormal, you might be looking at 2026. And they sell, and it's because these teams, I mean, they bring like 10 people,
Right.
and it's like $150 a person. People can
Right.
afford that.
Yeah.
People can afford that. So I mean, yeah, I mean, it just depends on the experience that you want,
Yeah.
and stuff
When
like
we,
that. But yeah, people will charge you through the wazoo if they know they can.
mhm. Yeah.
All right. So we were talking earlier, and I think this is an important conversation because you said you wanted to bring it up later, and that's coming back to the historical societies. And you were talking about how, or at least I think that not a lot of investigators anymore use historical societies because the internet is so much easier. Like I could sit here and I can Google
Yeah.
an exact address and see if there's any, and get their things of lists of any articles that might have come up. You can search newspapers right from startribune.com if
Mhm.
if you wanted to. So I mean, do you think, what is your take, because you're the big historical society and Kari left again,
She's coming. She'll be here.
um what do you think is the not the downfall, but the downside, there we go, the downside to the internet, as opposed to like, and what you can find there, as opposed to actually leaving your house and going into a historical society and being like, I would like everything here. Like, what do you think the difference between the two is?
The difference between the historic society and finding stuff on the internet. Well, first of all, the big difference to me is you can't touch an article through your computer. You don't even know if the story is true. You have to do, you would have to do, the only benefit is you would have to do a lot of research on different things, which is great. You could take a picture of something and it'll give you a history or a rundown, or, it's great. Google's great. Um, but again, you just can't see documents that were signed by certain people, and if they did take pictures of these documents, and sure, because I know a lot of people, like I watch the Pawn Stars and everything, they'll just say, oh, look, here's this document, here's that document, and this is the way he signs it. You know what I mean? The only downfall is you get the stuff from the downfall of,
Well, it's it's the truth if you've got the documentation and the person working there can help navigate you.
yeah.
On the internet, you could have 5 different stories. Well, which one is true?
Mm-hmm. And I even, it's kind of the beauty of it is even like if somebody said they go into the Historic Society, and Jones told me this many times, and she says, oh yeah, we know a paranormal investigator. If you think you got ghosts, or spirits or whatever, we'll get you connected. Just talk to Kim. Um, how can I? There's a big difference, I think. There is a big difference. Yes, you can do a lot of research through your computer, but I like the fact that you can walk in somewhere and look at original documents. I like it when you can see, like she's taken us to the basement, and there's so much stuff, so much stuff. You could be there for hours with no problem, like
Mhm.
hours. And it's awesome. It's just awesome. You look at old church things, old um, church, village, Native American things, different types of stuff that you could see.
I think it depends on if you're the type of person that's tactile
Mhm.
or just visual. We're more tactile. We need to touch things. We need to
Yeah.
see it that way, as opposed to just reading it on a screen.
Because we've done it. We've done research. Like we go into a place, like we went into a place of business and we thought it was only a bank twice. No, it was a bank 3 times, and and I've done the research. Well, no, because I was at the Historic Society when I found out that. And I said, no, I think this was a bank more than one time or more than 2 times. And they're like, really? And I go, yeah. I said, go ask the Historic Society. So, there's a big difference between the two.
Do you think that historical, because the Historical Society is run by the city or the county, whatever, or the county or the city, whatever historical society it is. Do you think in order to do cost efficiency that many local governments are trying to phase their historical societies out by moving to more of an internet and a modern type like filing system and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I think it's the cost, though. If the counties can keep up the cost of the building, of the staff, of all the utilities, and I think the brick and mortar things are just going away, period, stores and everything, because they want it to be on internet. But if one can afford to keep it running, why wouldn't you?
Right. And not only, I mean, and it is a lot. Like I know they really stress on donations. Like we just did an event there during Halloween. I think it was Halloween Eve. I think it was that we did it, and we did a people just wanted to know stories, the local stories and stuff. I do a lot of local stories and stuff, and I like
Urban legends.
Urban legends. We did there in the small town, and we had sold out. We literally sold out.
And it was older people, which surprised me.
And they told me,
I thought it'd be a bunch of young little whippersnappers.
Well, I mean, in fairness, they're the closest to being to the other side anyways.
right. That's what they said. They know a lot of history.
But they've been around, they've heard, they've seen. So they were very interested to bounce things off of each other. Whereas the young ones would just,
Yeah, there was one girl, she was the youngest one out of the group. And she was like, how do I get to know your she follows the YouTube and all that stuff. But she's like, how do you get to know, I would just love to do an event with you and then blah, 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 and that's it. That's all they're looking for. They don't say, oh, look, could we join your team and blah, blah, blah. No, it's
you don't get paid. It's time away.
Yeah.
It's not that.
Hell, some teams, they make you pay. Like you don't get paid, you have to pay in order to be part of the team.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly.
Like a football, Kari, just throw a nice spiral.
No.
Oh, it's too bad. Okay, back to our topic. So, which now I can't remember what it is.
Internet versus.
Well, I mean, I know that, but I mean, we kind of went down
I don't know what next topic was.
I know we just babble on and we don't even.
Well, then let's just leave it there. But so I mean, let's talk about a few of your cases.
Okay.
So I mean, not the one that you did on Friday, because that just kind of looked like more of a walkthrough than anything.
Yeah, it was something like that.
And you shouldn't have done it alone. Just want to point that out. But just saying, I'm a call away, ladies. Just a call away. But Annie did it on Valentine's Day. Who does that?
I know.
She didn't
I didn't
realize.
have I didn't have anything else to do. So I'm like, I was looking forward to it. I'm like,
Right?
okay.
So, but I mean, what are some of the cases that you've gotten, just around your area? Because I know, like Kim, I joined you for that home that was once a funeral home.
Mm-hmm.
That was very interesting. Investigation.
Definitely.
Minus the dogs, but
Yeah, we got some pretty good stuff. We did get something.
surprisingly, yeah, surprisingly.
Yeah, we can't explain it, that's for sure.
But I mean, obviously that was a couple years ago. That was even before COVID.
Yeah.
But I mean, what have you ladies done recently?
Nothing really, because like I said, we've been going through a bunch of medical things and stuff. But I do have to say this.
This year we're going to be better. We've
Oh
already
yeah,
discussed
we've already
that.
yeah, and even if it takes just me and her,
Yeah, just going out
We're
to
good.
Courthouse Park or something.
Yeah.
or,
God,
you know.
we have some amazing places here. Like
Mhm.
I even want to do like a huge paranormal picnic thing. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. I'm not going to even throw it out there yet, but I'm ready to do some really good stuff where they have these little cabins and can go into the cabins and walk the land, and it's good. There's a couple of places actually. That's one. Yeah. There's just so much. And I know a lot of like I said, I know a lot of paranormal groups that are out in the cities and everything, but they're more of the land type of thing. And I think, dang, there's so much, Mike. There's just so much. And you could still investigate nice places and things like that. Now, let's go back to recently things that are happening. So, my place is haunted. And we've known that for quite a while. And except the activity is getting worse. So I was going to tell Kari that they may have to come in to the house, and we'll probably be outside when it gets a little warmer. Go ahead.
I want to do it.
Okay.
You-
So
Sorry, Kari.
let me tell you what's happening. So what has happened?
Okay.
So our furnace went out. Okay. And it's kind of weird because we knew something was going off and on. Something was happening to our furnace. Okay. So, and our dog, she really, really is seeing something there. Like it bothers her since she was a pup. She,
But isn't that since your son came back?
well,
Or
I
was
think
it
it's
before?
before. I
Okay.
think it was before,
But it's gotten worse.
but now it's gotten worse. And I think my son has a little bit of, like I said, you go to different places. Of course, you bring back, and I keep telling this boy I need to sage him, and he does not listen to me. But anyways, make a long story short, we just recently had an incident where I have a plastic covering because I have an old house that has those, where the curtains would be at, like in an old time 1800s, because it's about that time era. And I think it's 1832. And so I put a plastic, because our furnace went out, and I put just a clear plastic table, like one of those table plastics you do in the 70s or whatever. And I put a clear plastic over this doorway so the heat would stay in more, okay, to keep it warmer in the house. Anyways, I was sitting down and my dog spazzes like for everything. Like she walks, I show Kari all the time about how it's so bad. And one day we were sitting on the couch and my dog sits next to me, and this happened just about a couple of days ago, and she's sitting there, and all of a sudden I see her look up towards that doorway where the plastic's hanging. And I looked and I said, "What's the matter, girl?" I said, "Everything's okay." And I look up to see what she's looking at. All of a sudden I see something step on the plastic. Literally, you saw the image of the foot step on the plastic, and it comes all the way down. And but before that even happened, she freaked out so badly, she took off running because she knew something was there.
Mhm.
And I knew she was reacting to something. So I was going to tell Kari, I think we need to get somebody in there. We really do. And I know, like they say not to do anything, but I try to see if there's, and it's like you said, Mike, do we bring things in? Do we do, and even if you did a prayer or whatever, there's still going to be some type of attachment or something coming from, like I literally, I've heard things from the beginning when we first got into that house. I heard things left and right, doors shutting, steps, doors slamming. To at the time where my ex was like, oh God, I got, this time I hear it. I got to get up and go. And our kids were really little at the time. So there's always been something going on in that house since the gate. And I knew that, I kind of
But you
wanted,
got a lot of stuff in your office. too,
yeah,
that-
I do
like
have
Ouija boards that she's taken from people
people,
to help.
but no, I have them binded. So don't worry. I have them binded. And I have things that people have given me and things that, my goal was one point, I wanted to make like a little museum of just paranormal.
You wanted to be the Minnesota version of the Haunted Collector.
Well, I love that show too. That's one of my favorite shows for sure. But anyways, but yeah, I can say something's going on. And that was the most I've ever seen in a while throughout my investigations. And that literally, I was so like, I was so worked up on that. I had to find a logical explanation for it.
Have you put the plastic back up?
Oh yeah, it hasn't happened. There was no wind. There was nothing.
Which door?
And it was, and so where how you walk in the front
Yeah.
room by the stairwell, and where all I did was, we have a curtain holder, so I just flipped the plastic there over, and I've never had issues with it coming down. Never. And of course the cat, like if she messes with it, you could see her messing with it. You could see right through it.
Mm.
And like she'll go through it. The dog's gone through it. Like he'll go right through it with no problems. But for some reason that day, Kali did not like the stairwell, and something, like she saw something, and I seen the foot, like something just pull it down. It was weird. It was so weird. But like I said, she's always seen things there. She's always seen things. My ex, he literally saw somebody walking up the stairwell one day because he works for a cable company and he had to work at home. And like you say, this is one of the reasons why I say this. He's never seen anything, and he knows things happen. He knew things back then, but he never saw an image of somebody. And he did see. He said he could see the plaid shirt and everything. But like I said, we do have we have an old robe from an Odds Fellow thing. We have actually two of them. And one of them it's called what is it called? The executor for the Odd Fellows. They had a lot of weird things back in time. I don't know what that means really, but we have that. We have some voodoo stuff, but nothing that I don't think. We have an old doll. We have a doll. But like I said, it's all in the room. And my house has been blessed, but again, things happen. So
I can't imagine why, Kim.
yeah, I know, Mike, right?
Yeah.
But
Wow.
I'm there to help people. I don't dare to be, I take things from people. I'm sorry. But like, I saw a kid one time go to a thrift store and he was all excited because he found a Ouija board and he was I can't wait to get this to my friends, like he was all excited. And I turned around and I said, here you go. And he's like, what's this for? And I said, oh, just in case you need me. And then he read it. He's like, Okay. Cool, man.
Have you? We'll end on this question because I think it's a good one. And I think I know the answer to this one, but maybe a little different. But how does up here in the cities, it's a completely different world than it is down in rural Minnesota. And you're not that far away, but the cultures are way different. How does your community react to you? Like when you're out in when you hand people cards and stuff like that. Do they say that's cool? Do they ask you questions? Or do they look at you like, you're weird in general?
Well, when we first started this, I know there was a paranormal team in this town a while back before I started and I think now we're over 10 years. When I first started and I barely got to know Kari, I did an event at the library and I was looking for people to start this paranormal. And when we have this thing called the Wasika Classic, and it's a parade and everything. So my best bet was to get free advertisement. I made up some little cards and I put them on, attached them with this little ghosty, what is the, lollipops, just put the little ghost, put some googly eyes and put our card and handed them out. And people looked at me and I got such bad reaction because there's so many churches here. And I got this horrible reaction where this lady, I handed her, let me see if your mommy would let you have this. And I handed it to her and she looks at it, such disgust. And she said, oh, no. You're nothing but devil worshippers. And she goes, throw that down. She tells the little girl after I handed it to her, it's just a simple lollipop. You take the card, don't make her feel bad. Throw that down. You don't. And I was like, holy buckets. I felt that was my first reaction. That was horrible. Then I walked down the line a little bit and then all of a sudden somebody grabs me and says, oh, you're a paranormal investigator. You need to do this. So I had this high and this low and high kind of thing. And that's what we were called. We were devil worshippers at the time.
It's like a third of people thought we were into demons. A third of people didn't give a rat's. And then a third of people were so excited and interested in that subject. So you had, and you have either A, B, or C person.
Yeah, I still do. I did the fair here and I got so many stories of our local places that these people were literally telling us about the wolf there at a certain area, and you're like, oh, you guys really saw that? We saw it too. They were excited to know that what they saw, we validated,
It's a safe place for them to talk about it.
But again, we
without
had
being judged, being treated differently, but yet they can say, hey, this is what happened to me. And I know you guys aren't going to think I'm crazy.
Right. And you have to have a good reputation with these people and do things good. And like I'm a supervisor. I used to work at the church. Kari is a hairdresser. She knows a lot of people because she grew up in this town. And I just, came out of the blue and brought up the history, because I knew there was a lot of rich history here. And I started going to the libraries and doing, looking at different things. And they have a huge, huge book. It's called The Child, which is the last name of a settler here. And he tells you stories after stories from the beginning of the settlers here. And it's amazing. It's an amazing book. And I love looking at that book. But yeah, you get the high and lows here, and you can, like I said, I had to start real slow. It's still slow, but I do have a good reputation. I have a good team. I have a good, my kids come along with me. Now right now people really, really want me to start taking them to places and stuff like that. But we're not going to charge $1,500 to do these things. What I've done is things, and I'll give it to the Historic Society. Whatever money they come, I give it to them. I do things like that.
Very generous of you. That does it. We're out of time. If anybody wants to contact you, maybe watch some of your stuff, follow you online, how can they do that?
On a website.
Yeah, we do. We still
do.
Yeah. We have CAT Paranormal, mn.com. We have Facebook. I don't know the link too much about the Facebook, but you can look us up. Facebook. We're out of Minnesota. Kim Juarez, Kari Haslip, and we're here. Like I said, we still do little things here and there, and we've done it for now. It's over 10 years. I'm gonna have to, yeah, yeah.
Wait.
But we need another 10 years. I want to investigate with Kari, and I want to do more. And yeah, that's what our goals are. Start doing some more events. Getting back into it. So yeah, it'll be great.
I look forward to you ladies doing that journey. But all right, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Mike, for letting us, allowing
it. For allowing it. Well, you're welcome. So, but all right. Hopefully Dave will be back next week with another brand new episode, or a redo of an old one. But until then, stay healthy, stay safe. We want to see you back here. Everyone, have a great rest of the weekend.